Mic check, mic check, 1 2 1 2, mic check. 1 2 1 2. What is good? What is good? What is good, ladies and gentlemen? Of course, you know who I be. Good Dr. Mike TV. Back again, once again. You should already know by now, ladies and gentlemen, this one is poised to be an instant classic in the making. By far, if this is your first time to the Dr. Mike TV channel, make sure you subscribe, make sure you notify, make sure you do all the good things to make yourself well versed in the Good Doc's contents. All my good shit shall be listed in the link in the description area below. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm just here to politic tonight. I just want to have a conversation. I definitely want to have an open discussion, right? Now, since day one, I believe me and probably a couple of other foreigners were probably one of the biggest advocates for being cautionary before making the move to the Philippines too early. To all of our foreign travelers or future foreign travelers to the Philippines, as you guys know, the country opened up on February 10th. And I believe that there were quite a few of us that were cautious and apprehensive about saying, yo, Philippines is open. Guys, go ahead. Let's go ahead and knock it out. Let's get to the Philippines right now. Don't waste time, right? Very few people were saying that you should do that, right? And I think one of the main reasons for that is because the rules and regulations were just put into place, right? All the rules and regulations in the Philippines, guys, they were literally just put in place. And as we know, for all of my brethren who are actually physically in the country right now, to all of my future travelers or guys that are already traveling it to the country as we speak, these rules and regulations were definitely subject to change, right? As we know, the Philippines change rules quite often, right? So because of these constant rule changes, opening up, shutting down, general quarantines, extreme quarantines, and all of that stuff, I believe this was one of the main reasons why we were apprehensive in the encouragement of telling foreigners to come into the country. But what I did realize is that when the country did open, I came across an article. Shout out to my brother Oscar, who shared this article with me. The article shared that there were at least 37 foreigners that were stopped from entering the country since February 10th, right? There has been a total of 37 foreigners that have been stopped from entering the country as we speak. So, whatever documentation they lacked, that was why they were stopped from coming into the country. But what the article also said, and I'll link the article if you guys need to see it, it also said that foreigners were coming back into the country at a record pace. They said that they had an expectation of about 8,000 arriving foreign passengers on a weekly basis to the Philippines. 8,000 foreigners coming into the country on a weekly basis since the country officially reopened. And they said that that number could increase as high as 10,000 to 12,000 foreigners a day in just a few months, right? So, we got all this excitement, we got all of this influx, we got, foreigners traveling in bunches and droves and at an astounding, resounding rate. But there's still some things that I do not believe that a lot of guys are taking into consideration, right? You got guys that have decided to basically sell everything, right? Guys that have basically said, yo, fuck it. Philippines is open. This is my time to shine. This is my time to get into the country. This is my time to go ahead and say goodbye to everything that I no longer want to be a part of. So bye, United States. I'm selling all of my shit. If I can't sell it, fuck it. I'm leaving it behind. I'm ready to start on my new journey to the Philippines, y'all. I'm ready to start on my new journey abroad. So this is my opportunity since the country opened, right? And I get it. Like I said, we're all kind of in the same boat, same mentality. You feel me? But what a lot of foreigners are starting to realize, and I think this is where the topic of conversation needs a lot more discussion, is that upon arrival, many of us know that we are granted a 29-day visa stamp, right? 29 days. Usually upon arrival, bam, 29 days before we have to renew. But there are a lot of foreigners that have realized that they are unable to renew their visas. So they get the 29-day stamp to stay in the country. They report to the nearest Bureau of Immigration, and the Bureau of Immigration is telling these people, no, we're not going to renew your visa. We're not going to extend your time into the country. So a lot of foreigners are like, well, what am I supposed to do? You're not going to extend my time in the country, right? I got this 30 days. So what am I supposed to do after the 30 days? Hey, man, that's not my problem. The government has yet to set a precedent and or a rule that I'm aware of that is specifically saying that foreigners are allowed to renew their visa for longer extended stays. Right? So when you get that 29-day stamp and you report to the Bureau of Immigration to try to extend that bitch, and it tells you, well, sir, I can't extend it. What are you guys gonna do then? Now, there are a lot of guys that are saying they're having difficulties doing this. If there is somebody that has traveled to the Philippines within the recent period, as early as February 10th, and they are in the process of and are able to renew their visa, then they can completely debunk everything that I have heard. But right now, ladies and gentlemen, there are a lot of people that are basically saying, yo, you can do your 30 days, but after your 30 days, you got to check the deuces and get the fuck out. Whether you choose to take a trip to Thailand, whether you choose to take a trip to Vietnam, all these other places and spaces. But like they say, man, you ain't got to go home, but you got to get the fuck up out of here because that's what it feels like. It feels like, yo, they're not letting foreigners stay more than that 30-day period. Unless you know somebody, unless you can specifically point out a what do you call it, a memorandum or a precedent that has been set by the government of the Philippines that is allowing foreigners to actually extend stays, chances are they're not doing that. So, what would I recommend if you guys want to stay longer than your natural 30 days? You probably might want to consider getting the visa before you travel. You might want to consider going to your nearest the Philippine embassy in whatever country that you're living in. And guess what? Once you get there, you go to your embassy. You could probably get one for as long as 60 days, right? You could probably get one for as long as 60 days. But as of this particular point in time, there is no precedent that has been set, no rule or regulation that has been put in place that says that foreigners are allowed to extend their stay in the Philippines or extend their visas within the country. Now, I do believe that the Philippines is going to eventually have to make some rules and decisions on that particular fact. But as of now, there's not one to speak of. And I think it's making a lot of people nervous because now it's all of a sudden like, yo, if I'm not going to be able to extend my stay, where the fuck am I going to go? Especially if you were one of those foreigners that decided to leave everything behind right now because the country recently opened. I do believe it's going to take a long time before the Philippines is able to get back to where it once was. And to be honest, guys, it may never get back to where it once used to be. But what I can honestly say with definitive fact is this: things are definitely changing in the country. They have changed in the country. And by golly, I can see more changes coming in the future, right? Because they're only going to address things as they come about, and they're only going to make rules and regulations that they think are going to be beneficial to them in their pockets as well as to the Filipino people. I can tell you time and time again, don't rush, wait, see how this plays out, rather than hopefully, coming up with a president within your time in the country where you can actually renew your visas and stuff like that. Rather than going through all that, it's like, why would you want to wait that long? Or why would you even want to put yourself in a predicament where you could actually, be put in a tough spot between that rock and a hard place and they're not going to let you extend. So now where are you going to go? And I think about this. I think about this all the time. And like I said, when I tell guys that I'm not really rushing, even though I have contractual obligations that are keeping me still, when I tell people all the time, I'm not in a rush to go to the Philippines right now. I want to see how it works out for all of my other brothers. I mean it. And I tell guys to just relax and see how it plays out as opposed to jumping the gun. Because when we jump the gun, guess what? It's kind of like shooting your wad too early, right? It's kind of like a premature ejaculation of some sorts, man. You blow your wad and you're like, yo, what the fuck am I gonna do now? Where am I going to go now? What am I gonna do now? They're telling me I gotta leave. And can you imagine what it's gonna be like to have to leave the Philippines, right? Go to another country, do the processing all over again, your 48 hours or whatever it takes for you to get a test before you're actually able to go back into the country. Make sure that's done on time, make sure it's not outside of your actual testing days or hours worth or whatever the testing that you're going to get the 48-hour joint for you travel before you travel and all of that stuff. It's a mess, man. And the timing of it has to be perfect. And who knows if you're going to get your test results on time? Who knows if your flight's going to leave on time? I mean, there is so much, guys, so much hurdles and hiccups and anything that could potentially happen. Even getting through that, then you find yourself into the Philippines or find yourself in the country, and all of a sudden you're finding that you may not be able to extend your visas while you're here. It could definitely be a hiccup in the plan. It could definitely be a kink in what once was a solid plan that you have figured out for yourself. So, gentlemen, I'm here to have the conversation about it. If you guys have heard anything different in reference to foreigners being able to extend in the country, Doc would highly appreciate any information on it. This here is an open dialogue and a discussion. Nothing I'm saying is based on definitive fact. It's more, well, actually, the fact of the matter is there are people that are saying that they're not allowing them to extend. But I'm not saying that the Philippines have said foreigners can't extend. I want to know if there's anything that you guys have heard or anything that you guys believe will be beneficial to the audience as a whole. Because I'm seeing it right now. You're pretty much, you're stuck. You do your 30 days, you go. That's it. Because they're not allowing foreigners as we speak to extend their visas. You know. So, like I said, man, 16 of you guys in the building, man. If you have not dropped your like already, Doc would highly appreciate that. Y'all know the rules, man. Make sure y'all caress him unless Andy stretch yourself all over that like button. It wants it, it needs it, most definitely has to have it. If you guys want to support in any capacity, please feel free to do so. But of course, the good Doc is happy and blessed that you choose to come through, spend a little bit of time with me today. Now you're on then. Let's get the business. All right. Shout out to my brother Mike, man. I hope you guys have dropped your like already. He said, I gotta stop spending money too. He said, I need to save more. Yeah, I love this shirt too. But sincerely good to see you, love. He says, but it hasn't been 30 days yet. So what foreigners are saying that? Um it's I know what you I know the indication, but there are foreigners that are saying that they're trying to extend early. There are some guys that I've heard that got into the country probably 10 or 20 days in, no, I'm sorry, probably about day 10 or so, they extend early. I know for me, whenever I used to travel to the Philippines, like if I arrived on the 29th, probably let's say I arrived on the June 29th, I think when I tried to extend, it was like July 10th. So I'm trying to extend early. I'm not waiting until the 29th day or the 28th day or even the 27th day before I'm ready to extend. I'm not waiting to the last minute. So these are probably the foreigners that are trying to extend early because they already know they're going to stay rather than waiting until the last minute to go ahead and do that. I do believe that is more or less the guys that are saying that they've tried to extend and they're just not letting them extend. And it's not because they haven't stayed in the country long enough, but it's the simple fact that there's no president that has allowed them to actually make the move. He said foreigners turning into Filipinos with the Bahala mentality. Yeah, it's up to the world, right? Just very nonchalant. Let me just fucking live my life and keep it pushing. The foreigners that wanted to extend early instead of waiting. Yeah, Cal, great point. That's exactly. Those are the guys that are trying to go ahead and get it done because there is no worse feeling than waiting until the last minute and having to pay those fees because you extended late. Right? That shit is horrible. Shit makes your stomach hurt because you shouldn't have to be paying excess fees for anything. My man says he was trying to find some bread. No panda salad, bro? Huh? I'm kind of the struggle is real if you can't find a panda salad. Filipinos got panda salad a lot. He says, how many people got denied is the question, and for which countries are we noticing and seeing the denials from the most? I don't know if that data is out. I don't think that that data is even available right now, but like I said earlier, there were 37 foreigners that were stopped from entering the Philippines. There's actually an article I'll link it here for you guys if you give me a second. While I'm linking it, man, don't forget to drop your like. I'd highly appreciate that. But there is an article here that I came across. It should be in the chat now about the 37 foreigners that were stopped entry, and then they talked about the influx of foreigners coming in on a weekly basis. In and around an average of 8,000 foreigners are coming in as we speak. So I don't know if there is a definitive, okay, who's getting the approval, who's not getting the approval, who's allowed to come in, who's not allowed to come in. I'm not sure if that data is available yet or when it will be, but I do notice that there are some guys out there who are saying, and to be, well, if you want to know the truth, man, from the one story that I did hear, from the one person that I did see a statement and or a comment made from, this was a white guy. He was white looking, European maybe, I don't know, but he was a white guy nonetheless. The guy that brung this to the attention of, what's the issue with them not extending visa, this was a white guy. So I really don't believe it's a race thing. I don't know. But, we'll have to see. He says the FB Philippine expat groups has people saying they are not able to extend because the local BIs haven't received instruction from the main BI if they are allowed. That's why. Cal, my man, OG, triple OG, because I know you are there. Shout out to my brother there. But that's exactly what's happening. These smaller places don't have the official, okay, go ahead and extend visas. So I assume that if you want to get any type of extension in the country, you may have to do it in Manila. And who knows if Manila is even going to actually give you the extension at all, right? So because we're all on halts, because we're all on hold, sitting on pins and needles, just waiting and praying for them to make a move, guess what, y'all? This is where we stand. This is why I said, bro, if you rush into the country, we don't know what types of challenges and struggles we're going to actually be met with. And I do believe that this is one of the struggles that most foreigners are being met with in reference to the extending of visas. Now, again, like I said, this is more so from my 29-day visa upon arrival stamp type of visas. Now, if you're on a different type of visa, the Balik Mayan or any of that other stuff, this does not apply to you. Okay? This don't apply to you, right? This applies more so to my tourists, right? My people who are traveling on a tourist visa. The only thing I would recommend you do if you want to is to go ahead and get your 60 days before you leave. Go ahead and get your visa stamped 60 days before you leave. That way, you ain't got to worry about a motherfucking thing. You good for at least 60 days. But if you want to go ahead and come through on that regular visa stamp and, take your chances, that seems to be what's going on right now. Everything is by chance and circumstance. So, good luck, y'all. Good luck. He says, what about expats that are already there? I don't know what the rules are for them. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know. Maybe does anybody know what's going on with the expats that are currently in country? I have heard there are some guys that are overstaying their visas, y'all. I did hear that. I'm not saying that that's everybody, but I did hear that there are some foreigners that are overstaying their visa, and it could be as an official result of this, right? People are overstaying. I'm not saying that that applies to all. I don't know exactly what the rules and regulations are for foreigners that are currently in the country, are already physically there, but I do believe that there are quite a few that are overstaying. That is a problem I don't want. That is some smoke. That is some smoke I do not want. My man says I'm rolling over to Myanmar. Not a bad choice. Which country am I from, or are you talking about who else is from? I think most of the people here are from the States, bro. I believe. I believe most of us are from the States. He says, I buy my bread at the deli. He said, I'm a bougie. Don't be bougie, man. Local panda sound, man. Little 5 peso bread, man. Can't miss right there. Little cheese bread and shit. Doc, he fully immersed himself in that Philippine culture, man. My little 5 peso panda sound fresh out the gate. It's my shit. Guys, what we got? 16 in the building, 11 likes, man. Don't play me tonight. Let's go. He said, I am a last minute guy, but a guy posted on video on Gio's channel. He was able to extend, but it's the Philippines. It could be the area too. Some areas may allow, some areas may not. I mean, that's what I'm saying though. Is it more or less what area you're choosing to extend in that's being a biatch, or is it all of them? Some guys are able to extend, but there are quite a few that have been questioning whether they could extend or not because they haven't gotten any news, or every time they show up, they're just not allowing them to do it. So, like I said, it feels as though it's hit and miss. Like I said, y'all, these are some of the challenges you're gonna have to deal with when it comes to the Philippines. Some places may allow it, some places may not. Some people may take a little cut under the table to go ahead and extend your visa. Some may not. I don't know, man. It's just one of the many challenges that you could potentially deal with as a foreigner traveling to the Philippines. If you're not at least in the know, you better get in the know for sure, right? Because not everything is going to go our way. And to be honest with you, I would rather wait until they tell me something than to risk it all traveling to the country right now. He said also most tourists are just staying or staying less than 30 days, and a very few of those who arrived on February 10th or later. So they're not worried about those. True, there are not a lot of guys that are likely going to stay longer than 30 days. Why? Because their work won't allow them to do it, right? But again, if you're talking about the guys that are currently in country, if we're talking about the future travelers, current travelers that plan on staying long term or staying for at least more than 29 days, yeah, those are the only people it's going to complicate. I do believe that you should probably get this information prior to traveling, trying to figure it out before you make the move. Again, we were never stopped from doing this, y'all. This was something that has never stopped us in the past, right? This is something we never had to deal with. Not on any occasion can I ever remember Philippines stopping me from extending my visa, right? For any reason, tourist or not. But again, we're dealing with new times, y'all. We're dealing with new times, new post-pandemic or still, I don't know what to call shit, but we're dealing with different times, and as a result of us dealing with different times, it's like the rules are definitely going to fluctuate from time to time. I mean, there's very few things that you can actually say about it. Other than that, he says you can extend an AC. He said, I already know. I don't know about Mindanao. They may get the memo 2 months later. Yeah, we do get some shit late. You're right. I ain't gonna lie. That's kind of funny. Just use an agency. Anything is possible with a few dollars. That's true. Grease a couple of palms, man, and you might be okay. I'm saying, man, who knows? Who knows what type of results you'll get with a little bit of money? I'm gonna be honest with you, and I do believe that working through an agency at this time will not hurt you, right? Because going through the agency is responsible for the extension of the visa. Once it is known that the agency is responsible, they usually make the indication that they'll either get it done or that they won't. And trust me, they want to get paid for helping you extend. So they're going to do everything in their fucking willpower to make sure that your visa gets extended so that they get paid. So I wouldn't mind having a Filipino representative do my visa work for me. Even though I am used to doing it by myself for the majority of the time, like every time I've never used an agency, might not be a bad idea to go through an agency at this particular point in time, you know? He says, have you tried Pandasal and condensed milk? I have not. Kind of sad. It sounds really fucking delicious right now. It sounds really good, bro. I have not, man. I think I tried Champorado one time with the condensed milk. It was good, but Champorado, man, that shit, that cocoa, that chocolate taste with no sweetener in it, it's just a little tough for me. Earl Owens says visa exemptions for 24 countries to open the door for foreign tourists to travel to Vietnam. Hey man, Vietnam has always been some shit. Love Vietnam. Vietnam has always been a place of interest. He said it's the same for driver's license with people on tourist visas. Some LTOs allow it, some do not. That's how it is in the Philippines, bro. If y'all not ready for it, I don't know what to tell you, man. I do not know what to tell you. All I know is that this here is the new reality. You feel me? And if you guys aren't ready for it, you're gonna find yourself in somewhat of a pickle if you come to the Philippines not knowing whether you can extend or if you cannot extend and things of that nature. I don't want you guys to be caught with your dicks out. Big pause. But y'all know what I mean. I don't want you to be caught out here in the streets looking sad and stuff because you can't get the extension like everybody else can. All right. We got 11 in the building, man. Appreciate y'all liking. If you guys have not liked the video already, Doc would highly appreciate that one. Y'all already know the rules, man. caress, molest, and stretch yourself all over that like button. It wants it, it needs it, most definitely has to have it. You guys want to support in any capacity, please feel free to do so. But of course, the good doc is happy and blessed y'all choose to come through, spend a little bit of time with the boy today. Now you understand. You can extend this just in certain places, true. Like I said, it's like some people don't get the memo. Maybe the Manila area might not be a bad area to try to do your extensions in. If you're in a provincial area, maybe they're a little bit hesitant. Maybe even in Davao. I don't know. I don't know what the visa extensions will be like in Davao, but who knows? It could be difficult for my Davao brethren as well, right? Because Davao, the Mindanao region, for the most part, only has one, and I think that's in Davao City. So everybody who's living in Jensen and Tagum and all of these places, they all come to Davao City in order to get their visas extended. He says, yeah, travel agents again, back to the 80s and 90s where travel agents had reign over the travel game based on the palms getting greased. At some point, bro, if you haven't noticed, the Philippines has a tendency to go back in time. I mean, it's the truth, and the truth shall set us all free, gentlemen. Philippines does have a tendency to go back in time, y'all. Mm, they definitely have a tendency to, you know, go back to a time well then. Champorado, they put dried fish on the top with condensed milk. Original way of serving it, man. You keep that, bro. I like champorado with a little bit of condensed milk in there, kind of get a little sweetness. But that champorado shit was bitter as hell, bro. Globe Master, what's up, man? He says I've eaten 20 pandesal in one sitting before. Pandesal the shit, bro. I love pandesal. It's one of my favorite Filipino breads of all time. That shit hit different. Depends on what you eating it with, but for the most part, that shit's awesome. And I can see how you can eat 20. I used to eat the mini ones, man. I ain't never ate any like not the big shit, man. He said I always use an agency. I'm not well versed on visa extension. I hate going to government offices. Jay, I agree 100%, bro. And the reason I don't like it is because it's mentally draining. It is easier to pay somebody to do it for you. Absolutely. Absolutely. But I used to always do it myself because I didn't want to spend the money to have somebody do it for me. That's the only reason why I did it. I didn't want to pay somebody to go do my visa extension for me. I didn't trust somebody to have my passport and lose it. You know, that was kind of what it is. Um, but yeah, gentlemen, we are definitely in some trying times, y'all. That's the best way for me to put it. We are definitely in some trying times, and I don't know exactly how this thing's going to pan out for us. I don't think at this point anybody knows exactly how this is going to pan out for us. But what I do know is that if you are a foreigner looking to make a move to the Philippines and or looking to travel to the Philippines within the next couple of months, you need to keep your ear to the streets. You need to attach yourself to whether you want to get into a Facebook group or not. I don't know. Watch your favorite YouTubers, man. Figure out what's really going on because it's going to be a tough go of things if you find yourself in a situation where you can't renew your visa. Because there's nothing worse than being an overstayer. And guys that aren't able to do that extension, I can tell you right now, they're overstaying their visas. And the fees that you have to pay for overstaying are ridiculous, y'all. And I can only imagine what those fees are going to be as, as the current time we're living in. As I know inflation has hit the country, I kind of feel like those prices for visa extensions and penalties and stuff are likely going to increase as well. So you have to be prepared for all of it, man. The good, the bad, and the ugly. If you're not, I kind of feel as though you're gonna find yourself up shit's creek. And that's the worst situation to be in, especially being a foreigner in the Philippines, y'all. I kind of feel like the way that we set up our budgets in the country are different. A lot of guys like to budget out their shit, man, get it all together. Okay, I'm spending for this, and nothing else, right? I got my money for here, got my money for there. Sometimes an emergency fund of sorts. I got it over here and all of that shit, right? But then something hits like this, where penalties or whatever it may be, visa extensions, acting a bitch, and things aren't kind of working itself out the way that you hope that it would. So now you find yourself in a situation where now you got to figure out what moves are going to be the next moves for you to make, right? And unless you're ready for it, my boy, it's going to be a tough go of things, man. It's definitely going to be a tough go of things. I wish my brethren nothing but the best. If you want to be the front liner, the first into the country, the guys that are gonna ride out on the swords and shit and go out swinging and all of that shit, I commend you on that. But I will always be the person to advocate for treading lightly and moving with cautionary steps. I repeat, cautious moves, cautionary steps. We have to. The reason we have to, gentlemen, is because I can't tell you what's going to happen in the month to come. I can't tell you if the Philippines is going to say, yo, man, fuck this, man. We're going to close it down. Too many of y'all coming into the country at one time. Fuck it, man. We got to stop this. Everything put to a halt. So I want you guys to just really, really, really get your mindset together and understand that whatever you thought you were going to spend, and I'm saying this with all respect, whatever you thought you were going to spend, times it by two. Okay? Whatever you thought you were going to spend in the Philippines, multiply it by two. The reason that you have to do it is because you don't know what your expectations for spending is going to be. I don't even know what my expectation for spending is going to be. But what I do know is that if I'm not ready for it and I'm not prepared for it because I've only budgeted just enough, right? When you budget just enough for the vacation because you spend X amount on your tickets, you spend X amount on your place to stay, what are you gonna do then? What are you gonna do when the money isn't sufficient? That's trouble, man. That's trouble. And I can't see putting my guys in a situation like that. So again, if the funding isn't together, gents, get your money up. Because you got to know that you're going to be paying some money out the ass for whatever it may be. I don't care if it's just a regular COVID test, man. That shit costs like 3,500 in the country. The good test costs like $60. That's not a lot of money, but it's a lot of money, right? Especially when you're just used to, getting it done for free, here in the States. A little bit different. Okay. Shout out to my brother Reginald Graham. What's up, man? He says, Doc, I just joined. I thought the Philippines clarified the visa situation where you can extend. There are guys that are saying that they've kind of been stifled of sorts from being or stopped from being able to extend. Some areas are extending, some areas are not extending. It's the craziest thing. That's what we're hearing now. That's the information we're getting as we speak. Some places are, some places are not. The ones that are not, I can't give you a list of those, but the ones that are, it's kind of like hit and miss. A lot of guys are saying, yo, if you don't use an agency, it could be a little, if you do use an agency, sorry, could be a little bit easier. Things can, grease a couple palms if you need to, but there are some guys that haven't really gotten definitive answers on the visa extension as we speak. And when those answers are what I would like to refer to as inconclusive or nothing is definitive, it's more or less straining and stressful to know that you don't know whether your visa gonna be able to get extended or not. So we gotta be smart in our moves. Gotta be smart in the moves we make. All right. He said, I've been saying they jumped the total price now to just fly and stay for 3 to 6 months, then leave. No more fly in and fly out. It's already up to now 7K for the trip out there. Are you talking about, is that 7K USD you talk about, my boy? I'm just trying to figure it out. I'm sorry. 7,000 US dollars, you mean? Bro, shit, if you're coming with anything less than, damn, I can't even put a number on it. That's how scared I am to do that. I'm scared to even drop a number. But if you're not coming with sufficient funds, pimping, you are putting yourself in a severe deficit. Severe deficit, y'all. And like I said, man, I want what's best for mine. He said 7K total needed for just the emergency alone. Damn. It's tough, man. It's some tough shit. It's just it's just I would rather you have and not need than need and not have. That's all it is for me, bro. I'm not gonna put a number on it, but whatever you thought you were going to need to spend, multiply that by two. That's me now. That's my words to you. Shout out to my man Big Roy. I see you, bro. I didn't see your comment show up over here, Pippin, but I appreciate y'all locking in too. But yeah, man, I'm just definitely interested to see what the moves are going to be like in the years to come. I'm watching, y'all. I'm watching, and anything that I believe that could be beneficial to the squad, I'm doing it. And I do believe, my man was right though. He said there aren't a lot of guys out here that are looking to stay longer than 29 days, right? They just want to get their rocks off, and they don't think it's going to take them a whole month to be able to do it. So a lot of guys are probably in and out. You know, a lot of guys are probably in the country, out the next. And I think they're banking on that. They're banking on the foreigner not staying long enough for extensions. But then again, the ones that do want to stay, the ones that do want to try a long term stint, I feel like they're now not necessarily suffering, but they're now having to endure the ramifications of not knowing. They now have to endure the what if, what if I can't extend? I do not believe they're going to leave you hanging like that, but you got to understand too, man, their expectation was for you to leave. That's the funny part. That's the fun. Think about it, bro. Their expectations were for you to leave. And you want to know how I know that? Because you had to present to them when you actually get to the Philippines, you have to show them that you plan to leave within the 29 days in order for you to just get the stamp. Unless you have that 60-day visa. You have to show them that you plan to leave. There is a plane ticket to leave. Or that should be the rule, but I think not, like my man Oscar said. Oscar said the more focus is on whether you're vaccinated and having all of your documentation together. So outside of your documentation and making sure you're vaxxed and all of that good shit, there's a there's now a focus on, the expectation you plan to leave, right? That's what I'm thinking. They believe that you plan to leave, so they're not really expecting you to stay in the country longer than 29 days, let alone go through the process of extending your visas, even though that's what the majority of us who have been there before and plan on doing it again, that's what we've been doing, just extending as needed, right? But now I think they're putting a stop to that, or they're trying to make it difficult, and we'll just have to see how that shit plays out, man. It could be to our benefit, it could be to our detriment. But again, just know, y'all, this is where we are right now. It may work, it may not. JX, you said you're not going until August. Sounds like a great time frame. Cal says flight tickets are high to the Philippines right now. I wouldn't come unless you really have to. I agree 100%. Wouldn't come unless I have to. My man Roy says 10 racks for a good 10 month for about 2 months. Yeah, about 5,000 a month. Who knows, man? That's not that. You know what? How funny is that's not too far fetched. He said, and your girl have her own house. I would hope that I would love to cut costs and if your young lady had a place to stay, that'd be dope. He said you can't extend. I know this government. They say things but rarely enforce it. Chosen one, I'm pretty sure there are areas where it can happen. I'm 100% sure there are areas. For some reason, it does depend on who you get on what particular day, man. You might get a jackass that says, you know what? I don't want you. I don't like your kind around here, sir. You might as well just get the fuck about my country. It depends on who's running the show on that day and what kind of attitude or behavior they're bringing to the table. But guys, that's it for me, man. I'm actually talked out, man. I really just wanted to have the conversation, man, get it out there, politic, discuss. Hopefully, you guys have gathered enough information to make decisions on your own about whether you want to come to the Philippines right now or whether you want to wait. That's why we have these conversations, y'all. I'm not telling you what to do with your life. I will never tell you what to do with your life, and I'll never tell you what to do with your money. So if you want to come to the Philippines right now, if you believe there it's either bang or bust, Philippines or bust, and you have to come right now, gentlemen, hey, get your shit together, pack your shit, and get here. Get there. I'm sorry. Goddamn. Mindset. Always channeling the energy. But go. Fuck. I can't tell you what to do, but I just want you to at least be well aware of the potential challenges that could be. Right? More specifically, if you don't have your vaccination situation taken care of, or you got your cars and all of your shit together, that could actually be detrimental to your shit as well. So my man says, Doc, will you be going that year, coming this year? Reggie, that is $1 million question, brother. That is $1 million question. You might want to ask me that same question in a couple of months because Doc has no answer for you right now. Calculating expenses and doing all this extra shit, I genuinely can't tell you whether I believe it is functional for me to go to the Philippines right now or not. I can't call it. The reason I can't call it is because, man, there's just too much shit going on, and there's too much flip flopping of the rules potentially, and there's too much uncertainty, in my opinion. There's just too much uncertainty for me to be able to say, yo, I'm ready to go. You know, he said everybody ready to come and I'm ready to leave because COVID was brutal in the Philippines. Exactly. My man Kang was like the Dominican Republic, Colombia, Brazil, as usual, always the go-to spots. Beyond that, it's also 6 months trip to Southeast Asia. Hey man, like I said, man, it's completely up to you how you choose to navigate your way around this shit. I pray for you. Whatever you make the decision for, man, make the best decision for yourself. I'll support you 100%, man. Ain't nothing I can do about it. All right. Will San, my man said Will Santigo, right? Yeah, my young lady's still there. My young lady's still there, but like I said, I converse with my young lady a lot, man, and we've had conversations about what moves will be the most beneficial for the both of us. So there's always there's always communication in that regard. It's not just me making the decision not to go and not consulting her, you know. So yeah, my girl's there. So like I said, I would rather y'all ask me that question towards the end of my contract, man. Let's have this conversation May or June time so that I can definitely make definitive moves then. Right? Because I'm not really pressed about it. I'm not really concerned about it because I'm not liking the direction that the country is going as we speak. Regardless of my feelings about it though, if it comes out and I'm still able to go, I'm probably still gonna go. I'll never say that shit. But I will say this though. There are definitely other spots and locations to go to if I want to. And Philippines ain't going nowhere. Beautiful thing about it all, the Philippines ain't going nowhere, y'all. That shit ain't going nowhere. It'll be there tomorrow. It'll be there the next day. It'll be there the next month. It'll be there the next year and the year after that and the year after that. Nah, no. Y'all ain't trying to wait that long. Hell, I wouldn't even want to wait that long. But there are other locations to go before going to the Philippines. So if the Philippines just so happens to be a detoured route, is that such a bad thing to go check out another place before you finally decide to, see what the Philippines is about? Once they seemingly get it together, hey, can't go wrong, man. My man says I have to go to Vietnam. I said I can't leave until I get there. He said I'm willing to skip Japan. I'd skip Japan too, bro. I like Japan. I've been to Japan, but I think Vietnam is where it's at, y'all. If I had to choose another place outside of Philippines and Thailand, Vietnam would definitely be a third. It would be three. South Korea, because that's where my brother's out. Shout out to my brother. But yeah, man, uh, that would be where I'd go. He said I'm in no rush to go into the Philippines, just chill and see what happens next. K Dallas, I'm with you on that one. He said, "What about Cebu? It is very easier to stay there, right?" Big Roy, I'm not gonna lie to you, Pimpin. A lot of people are saying that. A lot of people are saying that. They say the rules are a lot more relaxed. I would love to get somebody on that's actually physically in Cebu to be able to talk to me about it. We'll see what we can do about that. Because I need somebody who definitely has the inside scoop on Cebu and what's really going on and how they're navigating and what their rules are. Are they more relaxed? Because we already talked with my man Oscar about the rules in Manila and also the rules in the Mindanao region, more specifically in Cagayan de Oro. But Cebu is a different beast, man. Cebu is definitely navigating on their own wave, y'all. And I kind of like the moves that they're trying to make. I actually don't mind the moves that they're making, but as long as it's not to put their own people at risk, I mean, what can I say about it? Cebu is the only place to go right now in the Philippines. That's what it sounds like. Definitely what it sounds like. He says, been to Korea, Philippines, and Thailand. I need Vietnam on my list. Why I'm not against that choice at all, Pippin. I'm not against that choice at all. All right. Cebu is the more safe travel plan they have had in Hawaii. Like I said, man, Cebu may be the place to be. I'm not sure. I hear things like everybody else does. It might be the best place or the safest entry point for my international travelers. I will say that. It's really sounding like I would rather fly into Manila before I fly. I would rather fly into Cebu before I fly into Manila. That's really what it sounded like right now, you know? So may not be a bad idea, gentlemen. It may not be such a bad idea, right? You guys got a lot of homework to do, man. You got a lot of things to stew on, man. And I hope that you guys have enjoyed this content. Hope you guys have enjoyed the conversation. If you did, you already know what to do, man. There's a like button with your name on it, and I would highly appreciate you turning that thing blue or black or whatever color it turns on your particular screen, mobile device, or desktop. Like I said, y'all, I appreciate my audience, man. I love y'all more than anything in this world. To all of my people in the nosebleed section, the ones in the background, love y'all more than anything in this world. Y'all know that. To all of my silent partners, the ones that don't say shit, but they just show up just to hear me politic and say my piece, appreciate y'all. Y'all don't know what y'all do for me, but I know what y'all do for me. I appreciate you, right? To all of my brethren who support and participate in the chat, man, keep the conversation going. Love it. Always good to hear from you guys. Always good to dialogue. Everybody knows that the doc has the best audience in YouTube history over here on this channel. I don't care what nobody says. No drama, no negative energy. We usually come with the positive. We always have good conversations, and it's all inclusive, man. Don't nobody get stifled unless they on that bullshit. But seem like everybody on their good shit, not their bullshit. So love y'all. Answering questions before I leave. He said, when this crypto makes me rich, he said, I'm leaving Southeast Asia altogether. It's poor for expats. Nah. Hey, when cryptocurrency makes me rich, I will definitely expand my horizons. That I can agree upon, right? I will definitely expand my horizons and change locations probably frequently. Not a lot, like not every month or so, but maybe every few months or so, change location. That sounds like a beautiful life to live, right? Wifey included, of course, because you know I can't go nowhere without the ball and chain. Kang, I appreciate you locking in. Zerv, always with the antics, my brother. I appreciate you. All right, y'all. It is what it is, man. Doc's gonna go ahead and call it a night, man. Hope you guys enjoyed. You already know what to do if you did, man. Take care. God bless. And with that being said, good Doc is officially out. At least knuckle alam, which means I am going now. Bye bye. As always, love you guys. Sincerely do. Makita. Bye bye. Peace.